March 18th brought a massive update to Fallout 76, and with it came Onslaught. Now you may be wondering, what is Onslaught? Well, that's what I'm here to explain. We'll be taking a look at how it works, and I also have a couple of comparisons for you, so you can see it being actively used, and what kind of impact it can have. If you take a look at the bottom right, you can see the stacks that I gain when I shoot on enemies. Currently I only have 11 max stacks because I don't have Furious or Pounders on my weapon, but this gives a pretty accurate representation of if you're using a VATS build, for example, or just any automatic weapon and you hit enemies a lot, you will gain stacks rather quickly, and you can also see at which rate they kind of drop off. So I would argue it's relatively easy to keep yourself at max stacks. Now you also have this working in the opposite direction. If you put on the per card Master Gunslinger, your stacks will start accumulating on their own without you shooting anything, but when you shoot something, that's when they're going to start dropping off. This is great for slow shooting weapons, such as the hunting rifle as I'm displaying here. They're unlikely to be quite as good as automatic weapons or fast firing weapons, but they are finally relatively satisfying to use, in my experience so far. So what do the stacks actually do then? Well, it depends on what per cards you have equipped and if you have Furious and or Pounders on your weapon. They're going to give you certain benefits. The legendary effects on the weapon will straight up give you damage for how many stacks you have, and of course all legendary effects and per cards will give you max stacks as well. The per cards will give you reload speed, ranged damage to close enemies, ranged weak spot damage, for example, if you shoot a super mutant's head, and, well, I guess that's it. You also do have this stack over time Gunslinger Master card, as I mentioned before. So you can imagine, with all of the per cards, plus Furious, plus Pounders, which presumably works on ranged weapons as well, though I haven't been able to confirm it, but you can imagine the extra stats that you will get, especially the damage is the most important here. The bonuses that I'm currently getting from having 30 stacks from Gorilla Expert, as we can see here, is 30 reload speed. Gorilla Master is giving plus 150% damage versus close enemies. And Gunslinger Expert, 30% extra weak point damage. So overall buffs that we're getting are quite substantial. My hunting rifle here has Furious. My auto axe Furious with Pounders equipped. I have the card that gives you stacks over time, but I'm stuck at 22. And when I swap weapons, back to the auto axe, you can see that it increases by 1 for whatever reason. It should actually go up to, I think it must have been 40. But now that I swap to my hunting rifle, which doesn't have Pounders, mind you, it's gonna go to 30. As it should. This is how it should work, but it's not working properly with Pounders or with the auto axe for whatever reason. Now let's go through some comparisons. So I have Gunslinger Expert, Gorilla Expert, Gorilla Master, and Gunslinger Master equipped here. I'm going to use my hunting rifle. This is before I have equipped it with Furious, because currently it has armor penetration instead. So let's take a look at how much damage that it deals before putting on Furious. 225 damage is what we were getting out of that. So let's equip my sniper with Furious instead. And that is going to give us damage per Onslaught stacks. So let's take a look at how much damage that deals. And I do have 30 stacks now. Shooting in the chest again. 406 damage. 406 damage. These were both level 60 super mutants. I did shoot 160 before, so it is comparable. This sniper is slow enough that you will be able to have pretty much max stacks at all times. Now we're gonna try a bloodied explosive hunting rifle instead. So aiming at the chest roughly, we get 208 plus 63, 64. So what is that? About 272 damage, I guess. Now let's equip it with Furious. I did also change the sight just so you can more clearly see. 310, 107. That's 417 damage from, what did we say, 272? So we've gone up a lot in damage. But let's take a look at the stacks too. It's weird because it just dropped a lot from just 2 shots. Why is that? It's probably the explosive. I made sure to change the explosive. I put it as Hitman's instead. And now we seem to be dropping less and it's more consistent. So there is probably some interaction there with Onslaught and Explosive on weapons that might make the Onslaught stacks go away quicker. On the contrary, if you're using an automatic weapon, maybe it will improve the rate of which you gain Onslaught stacks, assuming you don't have the overtime card on. Could be something to try. Either way, it seems much more consistent without the explosive, so for any slow shooting weapon, the explosive effect application might ruin it a little bit. I don't know how it's gonna work with, let's say you're shooting a fat man. I haven't gone that in-depth testing this out. Anyway, moving on from the snipers, we're gonna try the Enclave Plasma Flamer. It shoots very quickly, so of course we've got to remove the Gunslinger Master here. So we don't stack over time, but we get stacks when we hit. And there is a comparison between Anti-Armor and Furious. Initially, the Anti-Armor does more damage, but Furious very quickly overtakes it. You can see it on screen. It was a bit tricky getting this set up, but it stacks up really quickly with this. I figured I would also try a raid out with my auto axe that I have, considering Pounders has been changed to Onslaught and I do have Pounders on it, I have Furious on it. And so I went in and I attacked the Fusion Core, and then I realized, oh, this has been patched, apparently. Probably anyway. Takes a look at the HP. Yeah, it's full HP. So I try it out once more with the good old reflective method. Here you can see we swapped to the auto axe and I have no mod on it. And you can see the damage is pretty good. And it's going up because of the new tenderizer changes too. I don't even have any type of melee buff apart from the Twisted Muscles mutation and perk cards. Plus, as you can see, I'm basically on full HP, and it still goes down relatively well. So taking down the EN06 bot is not a problem. So as a quick recap, Onslaught, you start out with 0 stacks. You can gain additional stacks and effects that will apply a certain amount of them depending on how many stacks you have. The perk cards that you can use will be under agility. They will give you these effects and max stacks. You can also use Furious to improve your damage depending on Onslaught stacks. Plus it will give max stacks, and the same thing goes for the 4th star legendary mod, Pounders. But it's very possible that Pounders is currently broken and things are not quite working as it should with Onslaught, but overall it's a very nice change. You can now play with snipers, you can play with revolvers, you can actually deal damage with different types of weapons that you wouldn't normally use. And it's something I've been looking forward to personally for a very long time. Don't know if this is going to switch up the meta necessarily, but it will at least give us more options, which is great. So I hope this video was of use to you. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Enjoy this new update, and I will catch you again next time.